Hi, so we're back. I'm sorry if it took me so long. So yeah, from last episode, um, I found out some bugs that I needed to fix. So the bug looks like this. Um, characters, the character animation stops working. I move diagonally like this. Okay, so we're gonna have to fix that real quick. Okay. So let's go to the player script and just delete this else right here. And instead, we're gonna um, change this into else if statement and add an else statement here, which says walking equals false. Okay. That's just about it. Okay. So let's see. Goes like that. That's fixed. Then move diagonally. It stays that way. Moves great. Okay. So okay, now so for this episode in this series, we're actually going to build a basic, very simple shopping system. Okay, this NPC right here is supposed to be shopkeeper. Okay, so this NPC would allow me to buy items from him, and maybe the next episode we're going to put those items that I bought from this guy into our very own inventory system too. Okay, so yeah, start with first off, go to the NPC right here. Um, Kinematic buddy. Um, I'm just gonna add a class name to it, just because you know the far feature of this game. There's going to be a whole lot of entities, like say um, some shopkeepers, right? And then also just normal NPCs, um, because they will share the um, same NPC node, the same kinematic body. I just wanna um, just you know separate them from each other, and so I'm just gonna use the class name. I'm gonna use this later. Okay. Um, we're actually going to export some resource. Actually, no. I am going to build a item data. That is what's going to be sold in the shop. I'm gonna build that first. Okay. Let's name this items folder, and then in this folder, I'm gonna add a script which will be resource, because this is going to be a resource based shop system. Okay, and I'm gonna name this item. Okay, go to the item, let's make a class name for it called item. Okay, yeah, I'm just going to start adding export, such as the name of the item. Okay, item name, and then the price of it, of course. Price. Okay, and then um, yeah, I think let's start with that. Let's start with these two variables, and then go back to items folder, right click, then resource, and then just type in item. um, this will pop up the new item script. Just select that. Okay, and name this let's say sword. Okay, name for it, sword. Okay, then a price of, let's say, 500 gold. Yeah, then let's item, and then let's actually add a new global script which will store everything player owns, or um, everything like the gold the player keeps track in it keeps track the gold. Okay, let's name this player global. Yeah, um, let's just add a. I'd like to do this every time I'm using a singleton. Okay, then go to project, auto load, get that player global.jd. So we'll make that a global script. Okay, and let's just type in a let's say gold. This would be the player's gold. Let's give the player 5,000 for now. Okay, that's just about it for now. Okay, let's start simple um, and go back to the NPC. Okay, um, let's export some resource, or let's actually add new folder here. We would call it shop data. Okay, and inside the shop data, we'll add a new um, resource file or resource script, resource file, yeah. And if we'll have a script called shop data. Now class name, of course, let's make this shop data. Okay, and this resource would store an array of item, which would be items. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna name it items. Wait, no, it's actually resource. Okay, yeah, you can actually use the item, not items. Okay, yeah, you know what? Let's just use resource. And this just means that this shop data resource would accept and would store an array of resource, which will be the item resource itself. And then I'm just gonna use the shop data resource, put it into the NPC, this NPC right here. And yeah, you'll see later on. Let's create a new resource called shop data. Okay. Let's name this shop one. Okay. Double click the resource and it will pop up the items array, and just add let's say 3 items in there, and just drag the sword, and let's actually add a new item. Let's make a necklace. Okay, and another item which would be the hat. Okay, and name this hat, name this necklace. Let's set the price to 1,000. Hat, say 200. Go back to shop data, just the shop one, and then just add the rest of the items that is going to be sold in this shop. Okay, and in the necklace. Okay, now it's set up. Then go back to the NPC. Go to the NPC script and then export the shop data for shop data. Okay. Oh no, it was okay. Yeah, you can actually do this shop data, I guess, for safety. No, it doesn't seem to. That's weird. Okay. Well, anyways, just delete it and go back to world and click the NPC, and now you can see exported variable called shop data is available, and you're just gonna have to drop shop one resource which holds the 3 items that is going to be sold in the shop. Just drag it in there like that. Okay. Okay, now that we have the put the shop data resource into an NPC, now we are going to structure a simple shop detection, I guess. Yeah, so let's just do it. Okay. Let's go to player and go to the player script. Now we have an event right here that basically says if I press the right click and I have an NPC near me, it actually triggers an event where it pops up the dialog box. So it goes like this. It looks like this for now, like that. And I can actually close it, but yeah. Anyway, what I'm gonna do is if the player detects an shop NPC, I am going to I'm not going to show the dialog box. Instead, I'm gonna show the shop panel where I can see things that are in the shop, and I can actually buy them. So I'm gonna start with deleting this code right here, and then let's actually make a new global script which we will call a game manager. Okay, create that, then go to game manager, comment this out as singleton. Okay, and go to project, make the game manager global. Okay, now this script right here will handle the shop communication from the player to the UI. So we're going to make a function here which says shop activate or interact activate. Okay, now we are going to pass in a resource body. Yeah, I think it's a body. Since we are going to have the reference of the NPC body when I click, okay, just I think just going to press that here, yes, body, okay, and yeah, go back to player. If we right click, we're actually calling the game manager and to activate, and then pass in the reference of the NPC body, and from there can just access the NPC's what do we call this, variables, uh, right? Okay, um, we're going to make a simple if statement here that says if body is an NPC, wait, or shop there. If the body is a shop, then can actually show call the UI. Let's actually make a panel here for the shop to show up. Yeah, shop. Then oh no, I'm gonna have to make a slot, right? So let's go to actors, create a new scene here, and let's call this shop slot, then another panel, and this will have a script. Going to put this in the scripts folder, okay, and yeah, it actually has a function called display item, which will accept a resource file. This will be this resource file that is going to be passed in this function will be the actual item resource itself, like this hat, a place, and a sword. We're going to use this resource to retrieve the texture that is going to be displayed. Okay, you'll see later on. Yeah, so let's go back to game manager. The body is a shop. I am just going to call the UI. Let's add the UI node to a group, so I'm gonna call this UI group. Add that, and the UI script to add a function called shop initialize. Okay, and I'm going to pass in a resource file again, resource, and this resource will going to be the shop data resource, this one right here, which contains all the items. Yeah, I'm just going to pass it right there. Then yeah, going to show shop the show. Okay, then going to use a for loop for every item the shop, and then I will okay, well actually I'm just going to add shop slot now and duplicate that. Add a min size of it, say 16 by 16. Yeah, actually some color for this. Let's stick with white. Right there. Okay. And in the shop panel, I'm going to add a grid. Set this to 5. Then add the shop slot in there. You're going to see that. Yeah, shop grid. I'm just gonna leave it like that for now. Okay. Shop slot. Yeah, I think we're all set up. So I'm just going to go back to game manager. If the body is a shop, I'm just going to call the get tree. I'm going to call the UI, call group, UI group, and the function UI called shop init. Yeah, then pass in the body's resource body dot shop data. Okay, as you can see, it actually actually pops up the shop data property of the body because it knows this body is reference that is being passed here is a shop. So it actually knows that shop data is a property of a shop class, shop NPC. Okay, this one. Yeah, and then goes into the UI. Passes the shop data. Let's actually rename this to shop data. Okay. Then we are going to loop through shop data, oh no, a slot in shop data the items size. I guess I named it items, I guess. Yeah, I named it items. Go to UI. Then for every slot, I am going to run the function slot called display item, slot display item, and then pass in the resource shop data dot items. Yeah, I should have used the. Let's actually just make the count here for I 0. So we're just going to pass the I, and at the end of every loop, just going to I equals 1. It works the same way. Yes, yeah. Okay, so a few mistakes here. I actually wrote this the wrong way. So I actually wanted to do is for every item in shop data dot items, which is an array. I'm gonna have to let's actually make a reference, okay, of the shop slots is 10 nodes right here. So I'm ready for shop slots is equal to shop grid container and get children. Now this function will return all the children of this grid container, which is a shop slot. Okay, now you can just use this to access each of these individual slots. Okay, now I'm gonna have to copy this, then put it here, shop slots. Say you have to keep that I on. I equals to 1, and I'm just gonna use that I to access because this is going to be converted into an array, because this will return an array, right? So I'm just gonna use the I, then display item, then I'm just gonna pass in the item dot texture. Yeah, actually going to make a export texture over here. So texture, because I'm gonna be using that texture to be displayed on the actual shop slot. Okay, so now I'm just gonna name it this texture, so it will import a texture. Okay, yeah, go back to UI, display, right. Yeah, I think this is all set. Now what I'm going to do is just give these individual items item texture right here, their own texture. So yeah, okay, now so for the item, I'm gonna have to move these 3 textures right here. I'm gonna use those 3 to give the item resource their own textures, so that I can display them to the shop slots. Okay, now for this hat, I'm gonna have to give it hat texture, and for the necklace, and also for the sword. Okay, now display item here, I'm just gonna have to actors shop slot. Now in the shop slot, I added a texture rect, which has the size of 32 by 32. Then I'm just gonna change that texture rect texture equal to rest texture, and yeah, I think that works. Let's try it. Of course, texture. Oh, okay, what seems to be the problem here? Texture, source. Okay, source display item. Y. Hmm. Um, shop data. Oh wait, hold up. Um, Sure. Dot items, item, dot texture. Place uh, sword, sword um, texture, drop slide. Oh, hmm. I don't know what's happening here. Maybe because um, yeah, I think I'm gonna have to move that. Yeah. Texture. Oh no, not the texture. Resource itself. I needed a resource. Uh, there. As you can see, it displays the item now. All three of them. So yeah, we for the next episode, I guess, and we are going to continue the functionalities of the shop. Uh, Stuff like uh, clicking on them and then actually buying them. So yeah, see you there.